What's up, y'all? BK back here to bring you the best pickleball content. Now, in this video, I wanted to talk to you about something that's really important to the game of pickleball and any racket sport. Is the foundation, or the first thing that you have to do to get any point started, and it's something that you should definitely use as an advantage for yourself on the court. So what we're going to talk about today is the serve. The serve is such an essential part of pickleball and any racket sport because it initiates every point and it can make or break your point. This is the one shot on the court that you have complete control over because you dictate how you hit it, where you hit it, and anything else that goes with that shot is all up to you. So make sure that you're utilizing this shot to the best of your abilities to give yourself an advantage on the court. So we're going to learn exactly how to do that by talking about the mechanics for the serve, the goals, the strategy, and anything else that goes into hitting the best possible serve so that you can go out to the pickleball courts and win games. Let's do it. Now, what is the serve? The serve is the shot that starts any point in pretty much every racket sport. The serve in pickleball is going to be hit from back baseline to the other side of the court, cross court from one box to the other. What you want to do with your serve is basically make sure that this is a ball that you don't miss too often, but you're still staying pretty aggressive so that you're able to use this shot to give yourself the best possible start to the point. Now, in pickleball specifically, there are two ways that you can hit the serve. The rules for a serve in pickleball are fairly simple. You either have the option of hitting the ball out of the air, just like that, or hitting a drop serve where you drop the ball and hit it off the bounce. These are the two ways that you can hit a serve. Now, the rules for pickleball state that if you hit the ball out of the air, your paddle face has to remain below your wrist at the point of contact, and your point of contact has to be below your belly button while you're making contact with that ball. However, if you do choose to use a drop serve, on the drop serve, these rules do not apply. However, you're not allowed to forcibly bounce the ball on the drop serve. It has to be a simple release off the ball for that ball to be a legal drop serve. Now, for a pickleball serve, there's a lot of different ways that you can hit the serve. However, the best way is to hit a simple forehand topspin to the deep back corner of your opponent's court. So what you want to do is simply use your forehand drive motion to hit a ball out of the air or on the drop, to use your topspin to give yourself depth and push the ball to the back of your opponent's court so that they have to take the ball from further away from the baseline, giving them less time to get up to the kitchen line. And this is where the serve is extremely important for you to master, because if you're able to push your opponent off the serve, you immediately have an advantage on the court because you're going to be able to get to the kitchen line earlier, or you're going to have an easier return that's going to give you a simple third shot. The third shot is a shot that most people struggle with, but if you're able to hit a really good serve, you're going to have a much easier third shot to work with. So that's something that you should keep in mind when you're looking at your serve. Now we're going to go ahead and start talking about the pickleball serve mechanics. The mechanics for the serve, as I said, is a simple forehand drive is the best way to hit the serve. What you want to do is use your paddle face either in a continental or eastern grip. It's okay to use a semi-western or western grip, but make sure that your paddle face at the point of contact remains fairly flat and you go from low to high on your swing. You want to make sure you're going low to high because that's what's going to impart the top spin that's going to get the ball to kick further back and push the ball deep at the same time. So make sure, again, you want your paddle face to either be flat or a little bit closed if you want to get that extra topspin rip. But it's also honestly okay to use a slightly open paddle face as long as you get under the ball and roll it. So if you're able to roll the ball, you should be able to hit the serve with either a flat, slightly open, or slightly closed face, depending on how much height you want to get over the net. Now, a lot of people like to vary their height and on these serves because that's going to give your opponent something to think about. I usually like to start off with a simple, deep, fast drive that's about 3 to 4 feet over the net. That's going to give my opponent a nice deep ball to try and get back. But if I see that they're struggling with high balls or low balls, I'm gonna vary the height by changing how I hold my paddle at the point of contact. If I wanna get a deep, high serve, because I'm noticing that my opponent has a hard time taking balls at shoulder level on the return, I'm gonna open that paddle face just a little bit more than I normally do and use that to give myself about 8 feet, 9 feet over the net, so that now I get a good loopy ball that's gonna go high back towards the baseline. And now my opponent has to literally get back here and try to hit a ball over their shoulder that they may not be comfortable with. However, if I have an opponent that stays too far deep and is trying to return from all the way back here, I'm gonna try and close my paddle face a little bit and try to get my ball closer to the net while I'm hitting the serve, so that when it reaches their side of the court, the ball's gonna stay really low. So when my opponent is back here waiting for the serve, now they have to try and reach for the ball, and this is gonna cause them to hit a very high return, and that again will give me an advantage on the court. So these are things that you should be thinking about while you're hitting the serve, because as I said, this is one shot that you have complete control over, so make sure that you're not simply stepping up to the line and just putting the ball in play. There are so many strategical things that go into hitting the serve that you want to be able to use your mechanics to use all the different weapons that you have in your arsenal. Now that we know how to hit a simple serve into the box and utilize our topspin to hit a good serve, here are some strategical tips that you should be thinking about when you're hitting your serve. Now, what I like to do personally when I'm hitting the serve is once I step up to the line, I'm noticing whether my opponent favors their forehand or their backhand and how deep away from the baseline they're standing. So if I see that my opponent likes to stand closer to the tee, closer to the middle line, favoring their forehand, trying to get most of their returns on the forehand side, I'm going to try to get them to move closer to their forehand side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna aim towards this sideline. I'm trying to put my serve towards the sideline about 3/4 of the court in, so that when I hit my serve and they're standing here preferring their forehand, they have to take 2 steps to come and hit this ball. The more I do that, as the game progresses, most of the time your opponent is going to slowly start shifting their starting position closer to that point, because they feel like they know that you're hitting the serve to this corner. Now, as soon as I see them do that and move closer to the forehand side, now I have the ability to attack their weakness, which is the backhand. As I said, if somebody's favoring their forehand like this, it's probably because they don't trust their backhand return. So if I can get them to eventually, throughout the course of the game, move closer to the forehand side because I'm attacking this corner so hard, now I open up the real weakness. So my goal with those shots where I'm simply giving it to their forehand is not because I'm trying to let them hit their favorite shot, but I'm actually looking ahead about 6, 7, 8 points ahead, so that I know that eventually they're going to try and stand closer to the forehand side, which will now allow me to exploit the weakness on the backhand side. And that's going to give me a few freebie points. And it's something that you should definitely be thinking about while you're hitting the serve. Now, as I said, there are times when you have to target the forehand or the backhand side. So the way you're going to do this is to give yourself the option of moving along the baseline when you serve. So you don't always have to stand in the exact same spot every time when you're serving. The more you can use the baseline and the depth of this baseline to your advantage, the more angles you can create on the serve. For example, in that last example, I mentioned that I can attack a person's forehand corner if they're overplaying the forehand. And for that, I need the ball to be able to angle outwards. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start my serve further towards the corner. If I can start my serve towards this corner, then I'm going to be able to create more angles towards their corner, which will kick that ball out cross court further away than if I was standing here and trying to hit a cross court serve. This is not going to create the angle that I need to push them off their spot. Whereas if I start my serve from here, now I'm going to create an extra angle of about 2 or 3 feet, where now I'm really getting my opponent to move around and try to hit a forehand. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you're using your third shot. So what I mean by that is, if you do start from this corner, you have to be ready for the third shot. So you can't stay here after the serve. You have to serve and get back to your neutral position. Now, your neutral position is going to be different whether you're on the left side or the right side, and whether you favor your forehand or your backhand on your third shot. If you're somebody that favors the forehand on a third shot and you feel more comfortable hitting third shot drops, even if you start your serve from here, make sure that you're hitting your serve and then you're moving here for the third shot so that now you can play more third shots on your forehand side. On the left side, it is extremely vital that you help cover the middle, so you don't want to get stuck too far on this corner. So if you're serving from here, hit the serve, and even though you favor your forehand, try to get back closer a little bit to the middle, because you have to cover 2/3 of the court when you're playing the left side as a right-handed player. So again, if you serve from here and you stay here, now your partner's left covering the middle, and if they're not comfortable hitting a backhand drop, that's not going to be a good look for your team. Make sure that no matter what you do while trying to create these angles, you're always thinking ahead to the third shot and putting yourself in the best position possible for the next ball that's coming to you. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is just the variations of the serve that you can use every now and then to throw off your opponent. Again, the topspin forehand is the best way to hit the serve off the drop or out of the air. However, every now and again, if you have an opponent that struggles with either moving around or struggles with dealing with spin, you can use different serve variations to throw them off their game. So if I hit about 8-9 topspin serves to the corner, and now my opponent is figuring out that I have a certain serve style, and now they're doing a good job of returning the serve, or they're standing really far back, now I can mix in some slice serves, some undercuts, some little rollers, side spinners, even backhand serves, just so I can throw them off their game. One of my favorite variations is the undercut side spin serve. This is a serve that I like to use especially from the left side, where when I'm on the left side, I can utilize the angle for somebody that's standing really far deep. I can hit that corner, that short corner, for a little drop serve with my side spin. So what you want to do on this particular variation is while you're coming down to your contact point, make sure that you're holding this with a continental grip, because it's going to allow you to open the face of the paddle and drop the ball the way you want to. So with the continental grip, when you're coming down for your serve, you want to open the face up about 45 degrees like you would on a dink or a drop. But what you want to do is really move your wrist and your forearm to attack the bottom right corner of the box on your opponent's side. So you're simply going to cut the ball from underneath and side spin the ball while following through low to high. So you really want this ball to loop over the net, dip down to the corner of the box, and then just kick outward. It's really going to make it hard for your opponent to try and read that ball and run to the ball and get there, and is honestly going to give you a few really easy free points if you can master this technique. Hope you enjoyed that video and learned to serve for pickleball. Again, this is a shot that you have complete control over, so make sure that you practice this and don't let it go to waste. You really want to use the serve as a weapon on the court. You want to start the game with aggression, with a purpose, and with intent. And this is honestly going to transform your game, because now you're starting off the point with the right mentality of being aggressive. So now when you go on and complete the point or complete the game, you're going to be way more competitive in doing so. As always, I've been BK. You can subscribe to my channel below, and also make sure to follow me at BK_pickleball on Instagram. Comment below what you'd like to see us cover next, if there's any drills or techniques that you'd like to see us cover, or any paddle reviews that you'd like to see us do. But until then, I'll see you next time.